Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Michael aka Spirit Shard here with an early impressions for Fear Online. Keep in mind this is open beta, and honestly, I'm going to be pretty frank right now, I don't really like this game. It's kind of terrible, but it might fill some special niche, so yeah, the video continues. Anyways, so anybody who hasn't played a Fear game, basically it's a first-person shooter horror game. I guess that's the way you'd call it. It's kind of a mixture of the two, although I've never really found the games to be too scary, but it's definitely a horror theme. So in this game, this is a free-to-play, mostly PvP, but it does have PvE as well, not very much. So you can see on the right side, those are your PvE options right now, and then on the left, there's your PvP options. Currently, everyone plays Deathmatch because hackers are kind of ruining the other two modes. Demolition can be fun, and then Knife Fight is super fun if you don't get people hacking for guns and stuff like that, but that'll be fixed, I'm pretty sure. If that doesn't get fixed, that's super sad. But seeing as it's open beta, they're still working on a bunch of stuff and anti-cheat and stuff like that, so that will probably be fixed. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the options real quick, because I normally do that first. So you got your sound, music, volume, and stuff like that. And you got your video options, which is actually pretty extensive. So it does have preset resolutions. They don't have anything besides what you see here. So if you run it anything that's not these, it will not run that. And it's got gamma control, and it's got all these detail options. The game can look pretty terrible, but it still looks pretty terrible on max, to be honest. So on here I have, wait, enable shadows. Why is that off? Okay, anyways, that's on now. And then it's got anti-aliasing and stuff like that. I only use 2 times for my videos. And then I also have motion blur should be off because motion blur is terrible. It reset all my options last time I started this up, so I actually don't have the settings I normally have. Moving on though, so it's got pretty decent amount of options. They have some pretty big effects on the visuals as well. And then you got your other options, which are in environment, so your gore and your inverted aim and stuff like that, and then your aim sensitivity, which I need to turn back up again. And then controls, so you can rebind everything as well. The only thing you can't rebind, it seems, or make a bindable thing is toggling aim. Like right now it toggles your aim whenever you aim in with a gun, and you can't make it so that it's hold instead of toggle, which is a little annoying, but that's fine. There we go. Oh, somebody invited me to something. I'm gonna climb that real quick. So basically, I'm gonna just jump into a PvP match and talk about how the game kind of plays, and then I'll come back, talk about the inventory, and then we'll try to get into a PvE game. So getting into games is super quick, which I actually like. Super nice. So I just click in, ready, and start. You can create custom games as well, so finding a game / creating a game is super easy in this game, which is probably its strongest point. So if you just want something to jump in and play, this is definitely a game to go to.
Start operation.
Warning before I wander around, there is gore in this game. So if you are not heavy on the stomach stuff, yeah, you might not want to watch. Although the graphics, as you can see, are not really that great. The game looks super outdated. Like it feels like it's a game from 1999, like 2000-ish. Like top of the line back then instead of decent quality now. It's pretty bad, and the game runs pretty terrible too. Like right now I'm running at like 30 FPS and I just got cut in half. Yep, there was the gore I was talking about. The game doesn't only look outdated though, it plays kind of outdated as well. So it's pretty much one shot, one kill sort of thing. So some people might remember games that did that a lot. It's not too special though. I'm trying to think of mechanics. You can crouch, stuff like that. The crouch is also hold. I don't think you can make it toggle. Most of the problems though with this game end up being from, it just feels outdated. As you can see, like just blood effects and stuff like that, and I'm terrible at aiming. The game just feels outdated. You crouch behind walls and camp, it's super effective. You can do all that kind of stuff. Spawn killing is super terrible in this game. Although it seems our team is even right now, so this might actually be a good game to show off. The maps are pretty nice, but most of the time from the spawns, there's only 2 directions you can go, and most of the people end up kind of bundling around those points instead of actually wandering around the map. So the center of the map ends up being blank, but that could just be, ooh, this room is kind of gross. That could just be a problem with the games I've been playing with. I don't know if there's any type of skill rankings at all. So I don't know if the matches are actually trying to even matches out, but I have noticed there's a lot of landslide type of games that go on. The game is sort of fun to play actually though. it runs smooth, like it plays smooth, even if the frame rates do drop. And it feels responsive when you are hitting enemies and stuff like that. But the problem is, it just looks outdated and feels outdated. Like, not in a bad way for the feeling part, but it does feel like an old game. Like, it doesn't feel like something like, let's say, Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that, or CSGO, something like that. It doesn't feel like that type of game, but it does feel outdated. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not really sure if that was their target. It is new. Like, they're advertising it as brand new, so I don't know if this is just a re-release of an old game that they never released, or if they literally just went through and made a game that is like this outdated. Boom, and I got owned. When you do get a headshot, you do get these little effects where it does the whole bullet thing. The problem is, though, the textures are really low quality on it. So on my screen, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video, but you could see every single pixel that they made with that graphic. So that's a little bit breaking. Also, in the PvE at least, none of the horror themes are really dragged out. This is probably the most horrific map they have, and honestly, they don't put anything in the gameplay to make it horror-like. There is a game mode that's supposedly coming to where you play as one of the infected peoples, but overall, in general play, there's none of it here. Every once in a while, on one of the maps, the screen will kind of like go red for a second, but that's really all I've seen throughout my entire playing of this game, which is probably a few hours. I like to put in a decent amount of time before I end up making an early impressions. And I've actually had to take breaks because this game, you know, for it feeling so outdated, I'm not one of the people who enjoyed the old school shooters all too much. I think Quake was the only one that I really played at all, and that was because, you know, I was playing with friends. It's a super fun game with friends, or 007. Those are really the only old shooters that I played, and it was just with a group of friends instead of online with random people. So as you've probably noticed, everybody dies super quick in this game, which bothers me a little bit, but it's whatever. I'm not the person who likes that. I like more of the whole EDOT thing. Multiple bullets, multiple kills. Oh, I said that wrong. Multiple bullets, one kill. It's a little bit dark in here as well. Could turn up my gamma. Oh well. Move on. So I believe the score goes up to 100, or it's time limit based. I think it's all time limit based. So if your timer runs out, you run out of thing. Oh, I got stuck on something. Actually, I don't think I got stuck. Whenever you get shot in the body, it actually slows your character down. So I think that's what was happening. Go head out over here. You can see up in the top right for the UI and stuff. The UI actually looks decent. The UI is probably the least... Oh, yep. That was right outside of my spawn. And then they just end up camping there. And this is one of the things that happens on a lot of the maps. Hopefully we can take them out. There are grenades. Maybe I can try using a grenade. You can hold your grenades to blow them up. It's another thing. Oh, I blew it up on a wall. And I'm out of grenades. Well, that was a waste. Yeah, the UI, though, looks decent. Like, the UI is probably the best part about the game. It scales well. It doesn't take up too much of the screen, except for the minimap's a little bit big, but I can live with that. Since it's up in the top left, for some reason that doesn't bother me. In the top right, you can see all the kills and assists and stuff like that. Has that whole classic kind of feel to it. On the right side, though, you'll see this little square with this kind of smoke thing in it. That's actually an ability that you can set on your character. And I'll talk more about those after this game a bit. But there's different abilities that pretty much give you small boosts or small abilities and stuff like that. I don't think you can actually use any of them. All the ones that I've used are passives. So the one I have is a passive for reducing grenade damage, I think. Reduces impact / grenade damage on you, and you can't get hurt by your own grenades, which is nice. Oh, here's the one thing that I was talking about where the screen just turns red. That's pretty much the only horror you're gonna find in PvP, which sucks, honestly, because, you know, fear game, I thought it would have a little bit more. Maybe there would be demons or something wandering around, but nope, none of that. Kind of sucked. So yeah, this is kind of getting repetitive already. It's not too exciting to play, honestly, in my opinion. But it might fill some people's desire to play an older style type of shooter, since there are a lot of newer shooters, but there's not as many that do kind of the old style stuff. So this may find some people that like it to be like, yeah, I totally like this game, because, you know, it just kind of fills in the classic feeling. And I got to admit, it did end up sparking my interest off of that alone when I first started playing, but it definitely wore thin, especially since I'm not somebody who's nostalgic about it all too much. Unless I'm with a group of friends, of course, and we're actually playing the games we used to play. Trying to wander around the entire map. The maps are pretty small as well, so when you're wandering around, there's really not much to explore. This is actually one of the larger maps, believe it or not. There's an even smaller map. I think the largest map is the one on top of a roof, and it has like 3 different paths, and they're about the length of these pathways that I'm taking now. But then again, with the amount of players, which actually we have a decent amount of players, so we could make a bigger map. But with the gameplay, I guess since it's advertised as fast-paced shooting and all that, I think they wanted small maps just to kind of get you to the action right away, since you do die like instantly. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. See, the UI actually looks pretty nice. It actually functions. Alright, so in here, you can go to environment and turn off gore, so I'm going to turn that off real quick. Oh, okay, you can't change it in-game. But one thing that it does do is it changes so that people can't get their heads knocked off and can't get cut off in combat, but the gore on the map will actually stay. So you'll still have the gore, like when we were walking through that kitchen area, all the blood and hanging bodies and stuff like that, they'll still be there. So yeah, it doesn't really help all too much when it comes to people who just don't want to see the gore at all. Maybe they'll change that, or maybe it's a glitch that it's still there, but I'm assuming that that's just kind of the way it is. So like this room right here, yeah, this room will stay the way it is even if you have gore turned off, which is unfortunate. But then again, I guess if you don't want the gore, this isn't really the type of game you would go for. I'm not sure. So I don't want to leave the game because I think there's penalties for leaving the game, but I'm just going to end up finishing up this game and then heading back over to the lobby. Annotation full if you want to skip the rest of this and watching me get my head blown off a few hundred times. Oh wow, he just disappeared.
Great, I'm reloading.
So as you saw right there, I was changing my controls. There was a thing called zombie change. That's for the new game type that they're coming out with, where you play as a zombie. Yeah, it's not released yet.
Move forward. Fire in the hole.
Yay, we lost. Not by much though. I didn't do so well in that game. Oh well. Okay, so here we are at the results screen. So it shows your kill deaths and everybody's stuff, and it shows who leveled up, which is kind of interesting. Also shows people who are in clans. Down at the bottom right though, you'll see a reward item. You get a chance to get a random drop. And I got nothing this time, but you'll get different items, so you can get pretty much everything that's in the cash shop as a random drop as a temporary item. Bottom left, you'll see your points that you get that you can spend in the shop, and then your experience. Exit. Here's the beautiful loading screen. Alright, so here we go. I mission successful. I did something. It doesn't tell you what mission you completed, but I got hardened steel, so that's nice. I think that was the daily mission info. So you click on here, you do get daily missions. So play a match, kill enemy players, and then kill enemy players 3 times in a row without dying, or whatever. And yeah, those don't seem to change. They've been the same since I've been playing this. Alright, so let's talk about the equipment and store and stuff like that real quick. So you saw the game played, so if you're still interested, the cash shop is the next thing you'll probably be interested. So let's go ahead and head into the store. So the game isn't necessarily pay to win, but it's definitely pay to get an advantage. You can buy weapons straight off the bat, but they're all camoed versions. You can unlock the normal versions. The problem is, see, to get this one, I think I need to unlock it by getting to a certain rank. But if I wanted to buy that weapon as a skinned version, I don't have to be that level. So you can technically spec yourself out higher than your level can be. And I believe the matchmaking does end up taking in your level after I saw that result screen. So that is a positive. But yeah, you can unlock different versions and stuff like that. And then there's gear, which is basically aesthetic, I believe. Nope, it's not aesthetic. It actually does increase your stats. So movement penalties resulting from any shots will be reduced by 7%. So getting equipment is a good idea. And it seems like you have to unlock these as well. So these things do different things. So gain extra experience, movement penalties. I haven't actually equipped with one of these. I believe I actually got sunglasses with sunglasses. I think it was these ones. Yeah, it was these ones. So I had the cycle glass, and I got them from a random reward, but they expired yesterday, so I don't have those anymore. And so you get different ones, and these actually change the aesthetic. Like, let me actually buy some glasses. These ones look cool. Okay, these are yellow. Why is that not yellow over here? Okay, whatever. Let's buy some goggles. Make myself look ridiculous. So these are only rental items. Although the guns you will own forever. So if you buy a gun, you have the gun for as long as ever. So I'm just going to buy this for one day just to use it as an example. You can also buy full sets. So this is a full set, I guess. I really don't know. I haven't been playing around with the shop too much. And then here are characters. So you can unlock characters as well. You can also buy them with the normal stuff. So there are male and female as well. I don't know if the hitboxes change. I hope for the sake of balance that they don't. But I don't know for sure. I haven't been able to test that fully in my playtime. But it does seem you can unlock all the characters, but the characters are not permanent. So if I go to here and buy, they are only rentals, which is a little strange. I would have rather had it be permanent, but seeing as they don't have very many, it's not that big of a deal. And also there are for different teams, so a character is locked for a specific team. So if I wanted to use Emily here, on the other team, that's impossible, so I'd have to play as Natalie if I wanted to be all female characters or something. I actually had this guy unlocked for a while as a small reward for a day. And I believe it was actually from leveling up, not actually just a random reward. So when you level up, you get those temporarily, and then you can unlock them. Over in consumables, you get your pretty much standard double XP, increased headshot points, stuff like that, to increase your rate of advancing, and that's pretty standard. And this just has a bunch of items that you can use in PvE, I believe. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at equipped. Over here I have 2 weapons. So I have my M16A1, which is the weapon you start with. And yeah, I use that for PvP. And then I have the Hammerhead, which I use for PvE because it shoots giant bolts and it looks cool. This is actually a crafted weapon, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you can equip your primary, sidearm, melee, support, and, well, support's basically your throwables, so like grenades and things like that, and then PvE exclusive. I have not been able to get a PvE exclusive item yet, but pretty much there's one that's like a little laser thing and stuff like that that you can only use in PvE. So they are kind of balancing items to be had there. In gear, this is where you equip those things I was showing off, so I'm going to go ahead and equip that. So now he's got some ridiculous goggles. You can go to character. This is where you change your character. So it starts you off with Benedict for one side, and then Jack for the other side. And one of the problems with this is at low levels, everyone's the same character when I started playing this game. but people end up unlocking other ones later on, so it doesn't really matter that much. And then consumables, operation plan, I'll talk about that in a minute. And then you get your crafting items. So there's a crafting system. If you look at the top, there's craft. And use those to make weapons. That's how I made my weapon that you see my character holding right now. And then capsules are those boosting items. And then event, I have no clue what this is. I think this is for events that haven't happened yet. The game is in open beta, so I'm pretty sure that will be used later on. Alright, let's talk about this operation plan. So if you look up in the top right, I have 3 operation plan things right here. You need those to play PvE, and they regenerate 1 at every 8 hours, or you can get them as a random reward or buy them. Yeah, you're limited on the PvE you can play, which sucks a lot, because honestly, the PvE is a little bit more fun, because it's more of a classic kind of shooter thing, and I enjoy it a lot more than the PvP, but I'm also more of a PvE guy anyways, so some people might not find it to be a problem, but if you play PvP enough, you'll end up getting 1 or 2 eventually anyways. I think you can only have 3 max though, so if you're at 3, you can't find another one. So well, let's talk about crafting. So in here, they don't have much in crafting. Right now they have weapons, and that's it, but I'm sure they'll add others. So you can craft all these different types of items, and if you don't have the materials for it, you can just outright buy it, which is kind of nice. So there's a grenade ball, hammer impact, and all that. So I crafted this HV hammerhead with items I'd gotten from the daily rewards and stuff. And yeah, they're just other weapons pretty much. Not really much to say about there. There's nothing really spectacular about the crafting system either. It's kind of just standard for it, and I really don't see too much of a point to it since you can just buy out your items. But I guess it gives you a free way to get items over time, or it just promotes people to use different types of weapons, but I really don't see too much of a point to it. Let's go over to Sonics. This is where you customize your character and these abilities I talked about earlier. So different characters, you'll want to use different characters because they'll have more slots. So the starting character only has 1 slot, so this is kind of a pay to win thing. And you can buy these as well, and these are the different abilities that they have at the moment. I did have, I believe this one. Yeah, Death Grip. I had this one enabled from a temporary reward, and it wore out, so I don't have it anymore. But yeah, see the one that I have, Frag Proof, reduce damage from grenades by 50% and immune damage from your own grenades. So these just give you passive bonuses. I don't think any of them are actives at all. But you can unlock those right here. See if I say buy, they're just temporary or whatever. So yeah, and you can set these, I think they're separate for each team as well, so yeah, you set them for each character individually. And then there's clan, so you can go ahead and browse clans, try to join one or whatever. Not too interested. And here's the capsules, so I was talking about earlier, the boosting items, and then also these lock boxes, so you can get these capsule chips, which I believe you only can buy. I don't believe you can find them anywhere. And then you use them to open boxes, which are just kind of like random chance items that give you a chance of getting any of these items that are in here, which I believe are just a bunch of skin, weapons, and boosts. So right here, instant respawn. This is one of the things that people have been bothering about, is the instant respawn. So once you die, you can instant respawn, and that kind of changes a little bit of the balance a little bit because you're instantly back up. But I haven't been able to play long enough to see if it actually affects anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and find a PvE match. Its queue times are okay, so I'm just gonna click and hopefully we find something. Yeah, we got into a game instantly. So here you ready up. You can create custom rooms as well. Probably should have showed that. Alright, so we finally loaded in, and it seems like one of our players didn't end up actually connecting. So here's the cutscenes. The cutscenes are super low res, but luckily if you hit spacebar you can skip them if everyone votes to skip.
They're probably already on their way to investigate the crash.
So each of the PvE missions kind of have this little story, and it always starts off with your character kind of waking up and doing this really cheap stand-up effect where you get a really good look at those textures. Alright, so here we are. Yeah, it seems like one of our players didn't connect, so we're actually going in 3 people instead of 4, which is actually going to be a problem. Because the PvP, or not PvP, but PvE really is not that easy. It's got a lot of enemies that you have to take care of. My biggest complaint about PvE so far though is there's this film grain, and I'm not sure how it'll show up on the YouTube video, but basically it looks terrible and the effects are even worse when it comes to this type of stuff. So there's constantly film grain. It randomly glitches in and out, so it's like right now it just disappeared but then it like reappeared, and yeah, it just looks bad. So the objective of the PvE modes is generally get from point A to point B and disarm a bomb. That seems to be the entire objective, and then at the end you fight a boss. I have yet to actually complete one of these. A lot of people don't seem to know how to play shooters that play these, and it seems I'm blocked by an invisible wall. Okay. The maps are not very well designed either. They're pretty terrible actually. It's kind of just whatever. Just a place to shoot things. That seems to be pretty much all this game kind of builds the PvE to be. Although the PvE does have horror aspects, which is kind of nice. Although it's not very scary, really. It's just kind of like a jump scare here and there. But at least it's there, unlike in the PvE mode or PvP mode, which doesn't have any at all, pretty much. I am blocked by more invisible walls. See, they're... Oh wait, no. It wasn't an invisible wall. I just couldn't walk on it. I had to jump to get in here. Definitely oversights in the map. Can you shoot through that? You can shoot through that. So you can shoot through some grates. That's nice. That's a good positive. I got it. So it's not that bad. And there's a big enemy boss. A lot of this PvE stuff ends up just being bullet sponge shooting for the most part. The AI is just dumb. They're not intelligent in any way, shape, or form. They pretty much run at you or stand there and shoot at you. That's the two modes that they seem to have, depending on if they have a gun or not. And they don't really do anything tactical at all. They don't move around you, they don't try to take cover often, and here's one of the horror aspects. Oh my god! Yeah, so the PvE AI is terrible. They just don't do anything. Oh yeah, and the characters do scream out like reloading or, you know, take cover, stuff like that. All the time too. There's actually one game to where everyone was using pistols and constantly reloading. And all I could hear was, get ready, I'm reloading, or cover me while I'm reloading. And I believe we're supposed to do something with these, but I think we have to wait until all players are over there. Oh, we have to go to here. We can't go ahead of here, we have to go to here. And then another cutscene. Skip. Skip it. Thank you, sir. And now we do another bullet sponge thing. So the PvE may appeal to some, because it does feel like a really classic kind of shooter experience, just one of the older kind of games. Not necessarily classic, but definitely older. Some people might like the whole, it's fast paced, you run around, shoot stuff, grab health packs. There are health packs in this game, so your health will drop. It's not in the PvE mode, but it is in the PvE, or not in the PvP mode, but it is in the PvE mode. I keep screwing that up. There's also these objectives to where you have to hold the plant, which isn't terribly too interesting. Yay. More horror stuff. And now a bunch of enemies spawn. I've already actually done this one to pretty much the end, and now I got jumped, so press F. 2 TEs. Your teammates can also help you whenever you get knocked down, although nobody seems to ever help out. Oh yeah, and there's also melee, which is F, which I'm bashing right now to get him off of me. One thing that's kind of comical though is when they jump at you, they don't actually continually hurt you. So having them... Okay, I can't help this guy apparently. Okay, normally you can. I guess you can't in that case. But when they jump on you, they're not constantly draining your health or anything. Oh, I blew up. Ha! I was standing too close to the bomb. Anyways, as I was saying, when they jump at you, they're not constantly hurting you. But when they're next to you and not on you, they actually do constantly hurt you because they're constantly bashing at you. So having someone jump on you is actually better than just getting mauled by like 5 of them, which is kind of funny. I hope they fix that mechanically. That way your teammates have to watch out and make sure you don't get owned. You also can't shoot through teammates, but if you make a custom game, I believe you can turn on friendly fire. So if they get in your way, you just shoot them. Yeah, not necessarily a good solution, but I have run into games where people will end up trolling and they stand in a doorway. You cannot walk through teammates and you can't shoot through teammates. So they will stand in a doorway until the place blows up, because if you stand somewhere too long, then the place blows up or sets on fire and stuff like that on most of the maps. I don't know if it does on this map, but on another map it does. The last time I died, I actually blew up because there was an objective there that I stood too close to because I wasn't paying attention. But anyways, yeah, people troll a lot on this game, especially since there's limited. People will have multiple accounts and just sit there and troll, but I'm pretty sure that will end up fading away as the game advances, because honestly the trolls are going to get super bored of doing that, since this isn't necessarily a highly popular game, especially right now. But you did see earlier when I got knocked down that my teammate did come and help me pick me up. Come help him pick me up. Oh, I screwed up that word. So you can revive teammates after they go down. So this thing actually shoots out little darts, and you can see the other guy's actually using one too, and it pins enemies to walls, which adds a nice effect. But the buddies don't last that long, so you don't get to relish in its glory for too long. Here I am disarming a bomb by staring at it. The game feels very cheap, may I add. As in, that's probably why I feel that it feels older, is just because it feels very cheap. A lot of the animations and stuff like that just don't feel very well done. A lot of the effects are very low grade, or, you know, old in a sense. And as I said, the game doesn't really perform that well either, so it's really running at low frame rates and all that as well, which really doesn't make the experience very enjoyable. Oh, I'm down. Where are my teammates? Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna die here. And we're probably gonna fail. Yep. And I'm gone.
Okay, let's get moving.
So here's spectator mode. What is this guy doing? He is AFK. Yeah, this happens a lot in this game. There is no penalty for AFKing, for going AFK or just chilling out. Zoom in on his face, yay. So I can change his view though, that's just kind of cool. So I can go into his first person view, watch him stare at a wall. Yeah. Alright, well this isn't too interesting. I'm just going to skip out back to the main menu and try to find another game. Alright, so we're back. Yeah, that was embarrassing. So that happens a lot, as in most of my tickets go down, and yes, that did take a ticket, so the operation plan went down by 1 counter, as you see in the top right. And so I have 2 more, so I could try to find other games if I wanted to, but I most likely won't. Okay, let's talk about the other things. So room list. You can create your own custom rooms, I believe. So host game. So you host game, you select what you want, you select your kill count, you select everything pretty much, your team balancing and stuff like that. And you can also set passwords if you only want certain people. So there's original, and then there's fear. So I believe fear is the PvE stuff. So you can select difficulties for each area, and then they have the original, which is all the PvP stuff. So you can see the map variety. We played on this map, which is the Night Mansion, then they got the Slaughterhouse, Ruin City, Daytime Rooftops, Daytime Mansion. I believe the Rooftops is the largest map. No, maybe this one, the Ordnance Depot. I think that's the largest map. The only one with any type of gore that I could find is the Night Mansion. That's the only horrific one, so it was kind of actually nice to actually get that map. The rest of them are kind of standard daytime whatever maps. And you can also change if they can use sonics and stuff like that. So this is really where the game shines, is in the custom games. You can see all the effects on the left side of what they have it set to. And you can also check ping, which seems to be accurate for the most part, although it seems like everyone's ping is high right now, which probably isn't true. And then, oops, here's your channels. There is North America and Europe. I didn't mean to click out of that. And then there is also clan matchmaking for clan stuff, if you want to actually make a clan on this game. And then there's guide, which is this chick helps you through the tutorial and stuff like that, and she tells you how to do everything. Okay, this has been Michael aka Spirit Shard with Fear Online. Like, comment, and subscribe as you see fit. See you guys next time.